anyone in any shape, form of life to come and gain the knowledge and wisdom for what spirituality really has to offer.
Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? It is wonderful to see you. I've been just sitting here backstage enjoying seeing all of the incredible places from around the globe that we seem to have people dialing in from. So do let us know where you are coming in from. I can see Portugal and Adelaide and Julie from the Scottish borders. I'm here in Southeast London. I'm Donna Easton. It is wonderful to see you all here today. You're going to be with us for the next 90 minutes or so because we have a very special masterclass lined up for you. If you've been to Mind Body Spirit Festival, you may have seen me on the main stage. As I say, I'm Donna Easton. It's wonderful to see you, but you're not here to see me. You are here to see our amazing guests that we have coming up. Do let us know, as I say, where you're coming in from, because what I love about this online community is that it's a real global affair. So we've got Italy and Canada, Japan, Dublin, my goodness, Armenia, Spain. Oh, this is just beautiful to see. Scotland, Hampshire, quite a few from the UK, but I can't believe the beautiful smattering across the globe that you all are. So it's wonderful to see you. Over the next 90 minutes or so, we are going to be hearing from the two great men, Mr. Paul McKenna and Dr. Richard Bandler. And we have got a 90-minute or so masterclass in the benefits of hypnosis. We're going to have some live demos. We're going to hear from the great men themselves, and I know that you're going to really benefit from this next section. We are then going to open it up to you guys. You get your chance to ask some questions. And at the end, we are going to talk about the amazing two-day special event that we have coming up in May, 31st of May and the 1st of June. And we will be opening up exclusively to you the tickets that will go on sale here at the end of the event. So we are very excited to see you. But without much further ado, I think it's probably time that I introduce the great man himself. I mean, a man that needs really no introduction, but I'll introduce him nevertheless. It's Paul McKenna, PhD, a globally renowned hypnotherapist and behavioural scientist. Paul's long list of clients include high-profile entrepreneurs, professionals, celebrities, you name it. Paul seems to have worked with them. He really is a legend of sorts. He's long sought after for his one-to-one hypnotherapy sessions and is one of the world's most successful self-help authors, selling over 12 million books. Please welcome, it's Mr. Paul McKenna.
Thank you very much, Donna. Hello and welcome to the special masterclass with myself and Richard Bandler. It's entitled The Power of Hypnosis, and hypnosis is really powerful. It's amazing for being able to turn around unwanted habits, to be able to put yourself in optimum states of mind and body, to also become a sort of optimized version of yourself. So to move away from limitations, self-sabotage, all that sort of stuff, and increase confidence, motivation, optimism, reduce anxiety, and change unwanted habits like not being able to sleep or, quitting smoking or losing weight and things like that. But people often ask me, what is hypnosis? Well, it was, until a few years ago, shrouded in mystery. People thought it was some sort of magic art, or it was one particular kind of scientific technique or another. And yes, it is a scientific process. But I like the description from Milton Erickson, who was one of the all-time great hypnotists, who really made his mark on the 20th century in terms of hypnosis, and was modeled by Dr. Bandler, who created really the models for modern hypnotherapy. Yeah, old-fashioned hypnotherapy was, swinging watches, close your eyes and do as you're told. Modern hypnotherapy and modern hypnosis is much more subtle, more sophisticated, using very clever language patterns, ways of creating rapport, also powerful psychological changes in the mind that result in amazing behavioral changes and ultimately the results we get in life. So Milton Erickson's description of hypnosis was, it's the loss of the multiplicity of the foci of attention. Now, what did he mean by that? Well, instead of thinking about lots of different things, because the conscious mind is always looking for novelty, it's the loss of that and the focusing upon one idea or one thing to the exclusion of all others. So in a sense, it's like concentration, but it's also synonymous with deep relaxation. But it doesn't have to be deep relaxation. It can be concentration. And everybody can do hypnosis, right? Even though we're going to be giving you some experiences during this masterclass on the training, that this is very rare that me and Richard get together these days. We've been working together for 32 years now. And so this is an extraordinary opportunity, but more about that later. It's an opportunity tonight to experience something outside of your normal mindsets, right? So that's one of the great things that we can do with hypnosis, is we can get you to go to imagine what it would be like if you were more confident. You see, for example, the largest phobia in the world now is the fear of public speaking. And people are worried that they're going to say something wrong or they're going to be judged. So as hypnotists, we get you, for example, it's a quick example. Remember a time when you were talking with friends, you're not frightened of being judged, you feel natural and authentic. And we capture that state of mind and body, and we take it so that you can trigger it off whenever you need to, when, say, you've got to speak to a rather large group of people that you don't know. So what it does is it gives you power. People say to me, isn't hypnosis about mind control? And I say, sure, it's about you having more control over your mind. So if you want to be able to hypnotize yourself and others, if you want to be able to turn around unwanted behaviors, if, for example, you'd like to be able to program your mind, because if you don't take responsibility for programming your mind, somebody else will. If you want to program your mind for success, then you're at the right event this evening, and also the event that we're talking about that's upcoming. So one of the things I thought I would do is start out with a very simple trance, because see, the thing is a lot of people associate, as I mentioned, hypnosis with deep relaxation. And that can be very useful, deep relaxation, because right now we've just come out of a biological pandemic and we're in a psychological pandemic. Open a newspaper, turn on TV, etc., go online, you're under attack. It's the war, it's the virus, it's the economy, it's something or other. And so there's a lot of anxiety, unnecessary anxiety. Sure, be aware of potential problems, but if all the time you are catastrophizing about things inside your mind, it's firstly going to make you feel terribly uncomfortable. It's going to stress you out, weaken your immune function, make you less able to handle things in life. There's a great saying by Mark Twain, which is, I've been through some terrible experiences in my life, and some of them actually happened, right? So people have become really good at catastrophizing and worrying about things, threats that are really never going to happen. And wouldn't it be useful to be able to just get peaceful? Because when people say, if you could just give people one technique or give them one gift, what would it be? And I say, the ability to get relaxed and calm at will and be in a beautiful, still place where your mind is peaceful. And from this peaceful place, your body has the opportunity to regenerate. your mind can be still and clear and make good decisions. So I thought we'd start with a very simple trance to put us in a beautiful, peaceful place. And then I'm going to explain a bit more about hypnosis. And then we're going to do a different kind of trance, one that's energizing and exciting. So let's do the peaceful one first of all. If it's safe to do so, close your eyes. And my voice will go with you as you relax deeply in the next few moments. Because I'd like you, with your eyes closed, to imagine how you would look if you were twice as relaxed as you are right now. And float in to that more relaxed you. See through the eyes of your more relaxed self. Hear your internal dialogue. Slow down and feel this deeper relaxation. And from this place, I'd like you to imagine how you would look if you were twice as relaxed as you are right now. And float in to that more relaxed you. See through the eyes of your more relaxed self. Hear your internal dialogue, slow and reassuring, telling you that all is well. And feel this deeper relaxation. And then from this place, imagine how you would look if you're twice as relaxed as you are right now. And float in to that more relaxed you. See through the eyes of your more relaxed self. Hear your internal dialogue, slow and peaceful. And feel this deep relaxation. And while you feel this peaceful calm, imagine taking this peaceful feeling into areas of your life where you need it. Just before you go to sleep at night, or when you need to relax and replenish. Feeling calm in situations where you were unnecessarily stressed, and enjoying the wonderful peace that a short, relaxing trance like this brings you. And soon it'll be time to return to normal waking consciousness, feeling refreshed, relaxed, and alert. Calm and confident with a renewed sense of optimism and deep inner joy. Returning now as I count back from 10 to 1, 10, 9, 8, beginning to return now, 7, 6, 5, and reinforcing every positive thought you've ever had about yourself. 4, 3, 2, 1. Wide awake. Come on back out. So I wanted you to experience how beautifully blissful and actually how quick you can get into a very relaxed state using hypnosis. See, that's one of the beautiful things about hypnosis. Meditation is a wonderful thing, and it's sort of in the same family, but it's not the same thing. Meditation is generally about just peace. With hypnosis, we use very often the peaceful state of mind to be able to communicate with the unconscious mind so that you can make a change, a strategic change, quit smoking, lose weight, become better at sleeping or confidence or something like that, or reduce anxiety. Now, the reason this works so well is the conscious mind is the mind we actively think with. The unconscious mind is the larger mind. It regulates all your autonomic processes. It's the source of your creativity and wisdom. And so the unconscious mind is running the show. See, about half of what you do each day is a habit. You don't think to yourself, shall I clean my teeth or shall I tie my shoelaces? You just do it, right? Because you once had to learn how to do it. And then that program, if you like, is stored in the unconscious mind in terms of what we call a habit. Yep. So what happens is the unconscious mind learns all of these things, shaking hands, opening a door. If when you're a kid, you had to learn how to open a door, and then you go, oh, all doors work on this principle. So one of the principles, if you like, of unconscious mind's learning is generalization. So all doors work on this principle. Yeah. The only thing is, some of those generalizations support us and some of them don't, right? So if, for example, we get bitten by one dog or mistreated by one dentist or stuck in one elevator, that becomes a phobia because the unconscious mind creates a generalization about all dogs, all dentists, all elevators. And in the same way with dysfunctional behaviors, once upon a time, they may be served a purpose. And the thing is that with the power of hypnosis, we can communicate directly with the unconscious mind to help change a habit or a limiting belief or a behavior that's been holding you back, that's been stopping you from achieving your true potential. Now, when I ask people who's at their true potential, nobody ever says yeah. And there'll be two reasons for that. One is that they stop themselves, they sabotage themselves, they have imposter syndrome. And that's usually from some sort of childhood conditioning or something they picked up. And the other is they just don't think big enough. They don't think in terms of richness and feeling fantastic. So one of the things we use hypnosis for is not just to overcome a remedial problem, but to also optimize ourselves. I mean, from the amazing things that Richard Bandler learned when he worked and created the original models for neurolinguistic programming was to model Milton Erickson, widely regarded the greatest hypnotherapist in the world at the time, Virginia Satir, the mother of family therapy, Fritz Perls, and a whole load of Gregory Bates, and all kinds of brilliant minds. And to take things that he'd learned and turn them into codify specific techniques and algorithms that people can use to optimize themselves. And so when we teach a training, it's not just about overcoming problems that may have held you back for years. It's about being the greatest version of you, a you that's living at a higher level of your true potential, a you that's more resilient, a you that's able to overcome problems and be creative about solutions to those. So I thought we'd do another process, and this is a very different sort of trance. This is not a relaxing one. This is an exciting, energizing trance, one that gets you into a peak state of performance. Now, some people say to me, well, I don't know if this will work on me. I'm not suggestible. And I say, what's your name? And they say, well, it's Fred. I go, how do you know? Well, I just know it is. No, but how do you know? Did somebody once tell you your name was Fred and it's stuck in your mind forever? The power of hypnotic suggestion can do that. Yeah. I mean, many of the things we do every day support us. They're functional. They're good things. Yeah. And maybe there's some things that either don't support us or we'd like to improve upon. And that's why we use hypnosis, because hypnosis can communicate directly with the unconscious mind, right? It's proven to be now the best way in the world to quit smoking. From a meta study, that's a study of all studies. It's proven to do a whole load of amazing things. Firstly, if you look at the research, you find out two things: it works, and it's safe, right? And so we're going to be using hypnosis a little bit more in just a moment to get ourselves in an optimum state, to be absolutely filled with joy and happiness and confidence, yeah? So once again, if it's safe to do so, I'd like you to close your eyes, please. Listen to my voice. And I'd like you to imagine you're looking at a cinema screen in front of you, a great big cinema screen. And on that screen, I'd like you to see a you that's operating at your true potential or close to it. Look at your posture, the expression on your face, the light behind your eyes. Look at the way you gesture and connect with other people. Hear the sound of your voice, strong and positive, and feel. That's it. Look at the way you exude confidence and joy and likability and charisma. Now, float over and into the screen and into that optimized you. See through the eyes of your optimized self. That's it. How does the world look from this perspective? Hear your voice, strong and positive, saying, all is well. And feel how good this amazing optimized feeling feels. And I'd like you to notice where you feel this feeling strongest and give it a color, any color you like, and move that color up through your neck into your head, down through your shoulders, into your arms and hands and fingers, down through your chest into your legs, and double the brightness and double it again. There you go. That's right. Until you're glowing with this amazing, amazing feeling, this sense of confidence, joy, and optimism. That's right. And then from this place, imagine another cinema screen. And on that screen, see a you that's operating at an even higher level of your potential. Look at your posture, the expression on your face, the light behind your eyes, the way you connect with other people, the way you exude joy and happiness. And then when you're ready, float over and into that you and step into this optimized you and see through the eyes of your optimized self. Hear your internal dialogue saying, I am positive, I am strong. And feel this amazing feeling. And give that feeling, wherever it is in your body, that same color again. Move that color up through your neck into your head, down through your shoulders into your arms and hands and fingers, down through your chest into your legs, and double the brightness and double it again until you're glowing with this amazing feeling. And then take that feeling with you. And imagine taking it into your home life. How good will it be? That's it. Feeling this good in your home life. And then take it into your work life. How good will it feel being in this state of mind and body in your work life, maybe dealing with challenging people or situations? And when you're ready, open your eyes and come on back out. Now that took just a few minutes to do, didn't it? And check in how you feel right now, right? So the idea is I wanted to give you a taste, a very, very quick taste of how hypnosis can help you with deep relaxation and to get into blissful places, but also to be empowered, again, through visualization, but done in a place where you're really concentrating, yeah? And thing is, you may have noticed changes right now, but don't be surprised, don't be too surprised if over the next few days, you begin to notice even more changes and you think to yourself, hang on, did that come about from that Power of Hypnosis Masterclass with Paul and Richard? Hang on a minute, maybe it did. So without further ado, because I've completed my first part of the Masterclass, I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Richard Bandler, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end of Richard's set. But I do hope you're feeling good, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you the greatest hypnotist in the world, certainly the smartest behavioral scientist, somebody who's made a most amazing contribution to the world in terms of the techniques and technologies that he's created that have made people's lives for the better. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and only Dr. Richard Bandler. Hello, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Paul. You're seem to be on today.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're all here, scattered across the planet as it be. It's nice that we have people from Japan and from Europe and all over the place. That's one of the nice things about these online things, is that you can be somewhere without going. I started some 55 years ago to try to bring order to the chaos of psychotherapy. It actually all started because I moved in a house owned by a psychiatrist, and he had lots of books, and I read them, and I thought, what a lot of nonsense. None of these books tell you what to do to solve problems. They named everything. They had diagnoses for names. People were insomniacs, people were compulsives, people were depressed, people were manic depressives, and yet they didn't have solutions. I'm a very solution-oriented person. I'm not somebody that really believes in theories. I created neurolinguistic programming primarily because I looked at all the best psychotherapists, and I only looked at what they did that worked, and typically only the moments where it worked, not the rest of it. They would do 3-hour sessions with somebody, and if they got a result, it would be as a result based on the last 5 minutes. And I did the things, and I looked at all of these. There were roughly 160 schools of psychotherapy, all claiming they had a right approach, when none of them had any consistent track record solving problems with anybody about anything. Unlike the hypnotists, at least statistically, 70% of the time can get somebody to quit smoking, can get somebody to sleep better. Hypnotists were very result-oriented. The best hypnotist who I found was Milton Erickson, MD of Phoenix, Arizona. Milton seemed to be able to do things that no one else could even admit were possible. He would get schizophrenics to leave the hospital, get a job, get married, have kids, and do good things for the rest of their life. He got people that had all kinds of crazy psychotic episodes going on to act normal. And it always didn't make sense to psychologists how he did this. But to me, it all made perfect sense, because he understood at the bottom line, what we're affecting is our own neurology. We are born learning machines. We learn a lot of really great stuff in order to walk and talk and ride bicycles and the alphabet and read and write and do all kinds of things. But we don't get training in how to be happy and functional. This we need to sort out for ourselves as time goes by. A lot of people later in life give up a lot of the anxiety and stress. Even know somebody who told me once that they seemed like a new person when they turned 50. And when I said to them, you seem so much more relaxed and confident. And they said, my mother always told me when I was 50, I wouldn't care what people thought of me. And I thought, gee, why wait? You could do that now. To me, the unconscious is not a thing. It's the processes that go on neurologically. And learning and relearning, the brain works by something that in computer language we call a Turing machine. This is where you put plates on top of each other with a spring. Well, the last plate out is the one that comes up first. And we store memories like that. That's why we could learn a new phone number and we don't have to dial the old one to remember the new one. That our ability, we never give up neurocortical pathways, but we can layer things on top of it infinitely our entire life. So when people have bad habits and consistent behaviors or memories that plant and haunt them, our ability to affect their neurology is best done in an altered state. What most people call hypnosis, I call altered states. That to me, there are as many different states of hypnosis as you can imagine. Most meditations strive to create a particular state of consciousness through a very rigid meditation. In hypnosis, we try to talk to the unconscious processes of people to build up learning and understanding that will stay with them for the rest of their life. In the 2-day seminar, the power of hypnosis is the power to control your voice tone, your voice tempo, the syntax of your language, and all of those things in a way which produces pervasive change in yourself and in other people. And you see, when you understand how neurology works, then influencing it is not that difficult. It's not that mystical. It's actually rather simple. That your ability to be more relaxed, to be more comfortable, is something that's your birthright. Now, most people haven't explored. I ask a lot of my clients when they come in, I said, I have a question for you. And they always think I'm going to ask, what's wrong with you? And I always ask them, how much pleasure can you stand? And you should see the look on their face. It's shocking to people to even try to think about it. And they always go, I don't know how to answer that question. And I go, well, you have to think about it. You know how much pain you can stand. And, even with drug addicts, when I tell them, they hit a threshold of anxiety in their life and it makes them want to take drugs. Their addiction makes them want to take drugs. Alcoholics are the same thing, that when they start feeling a certain way, withdrawal, for example, tells them to start drinking. But you see, all of these signals could tell them something else. When you go on a diet, you get hungry. And you're supposed to. That's why they call it dieting. And if the fact that you felt hungry made you go inside and feel, wow, I'm doing exactly the right thing, you would feel good about it. You'd get an endorphin release, and you wouldn't need to eat a pound of chocolate cake or a bag of potato chips. All of these things that signal to us to do behavior are based on feelings, which is part of an intricate system of connections between our hollow and solid organs and our intestines that psychologists have labeled feelings, and that the anthemic nervous system itself is very sophisticated, connected to the brain. And in fact, the way you think affects the way you feel, the way you talk to yourself, the pictures that you make. I worked for a long time with people that had traumatic stress syndrome, and a lot of them had bad memories that they were constantly thinking about. 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 4 minutes there. And I discovered that if I had them take those memories and discover and put a border around those memories, shrink them down and blink them black and white, that suddenly it was harder for them to remember them because it affected the neurocortical pathway. Our ability to go into an altered state sometimes isn't a deep state of hypnosis. It's a deep state of concentration. Paul said that earlier, and I agree with him. In fact, he probably got it from me, that concentration is the key to help you to relax. And when you relax properly, what happens is it changes your perspective. Your ability to change your perspective is what makes it so that you can think differently. That if your pictures are too big, you get overwhelmed with them, especially if you have bad things in those pictures. But your ability to learn to shrink them down allows you to calm down. Now, your ability to think differently is based on understanding and the process of it. We do not understand language consciously. It just goes in by the phrase. Whatever your native tongue is, or even a second language that you understand fluently, all of these things function at the unconscious level. When I say phrases, you don't have to diagram them like they do in elementary school. It tells you what's going on and you understand unconsciously. That understanding language, since it's an unconscious process, when we try to get people, and psychologists believe for years that if you understood your problem, I was trapped in an elevator when I was 5, so therefore I have this, my mother didn't love me, therefore I can't have good relationships. All of these cause-effects relationships are contradictory to science. Science has evolved above it. We now have everything relative. That relativity is where we realize that it's not one variable, it's a multiplicity of variables that all affect each other. The universe is infinitely complex and infinitely simple at the same time. Gold knows what temperature to melt at. And in your life, with your personal history, you know when to feel anxiety, you know when to feel relaxed, but you don't know how relaxed you can feel, and you don't even know how much anxiety you could feel. You're probably capable of a lot more. You may not want to, which is a good choice because stress is not good for you. Stress will make it so that you don't function as well, you're not as healthy. It's just not good for you. Learning to relax in this 2-day seminar is going to help you to do two things. It's going to help you to be calmer, but it's also going to help you to be smarter, because I'm going to teach you during those 2 days things about how the brain works, at the size of your pictures, the location of your pictures, where the voice is in your head, whether it sounds like it's going in or going out. All of these things in a very sophisticated way will determine how well you function as a human being and will allow you to change the way you think. And if you change the way you think, it changes the way you feel, and therefore it changes what you're absolutely capable of doing. I've had athletes that believe they could only throw a fastball, a baseball player, that he could only throw a fastball so fast. And it turned out when he changed the way he thought, it changed the way he felt. And therefore, it made it so that he could throw a fastball almost 8 miles an hour faster. And when you're a professional athlete, that's very, very fast. I've cut strokes off of people's golf games. I've worked with athletes and celebrities of all different kinds to get them to be able to function at a higher level. All of us, if we imagine ourselves doing better than we can, we have a target. Because the truth is, you're either living in the past, and if you do, you give up the future. If you're planning, you're living towards the future. And heading towards things is when human beings do the best. When they're trying to avoid something, it's like driving and looking in the rearview mirror. And I will tell you flat out, there's a reason why the windshield is big and the rearview mirror is small. And it should be like that for all of us. Learning to make the past so that it's smaller than the future is really important. Now, in terms of the different things we can do and the different things we will accomplish in this, I'm going to teach you about the sophistication of language so that you can communicate better, both consciously and unconsciously. I can teach you things about how to work with clients, students, employees, all of those things where if you communicate in a way, because one of the greatest things about hypnosis is post-hypnotic suggestions. That when you put people in trance, you can give them suggestions about things that will happen in the future. We all do it. We park our car, look at where it is, imagine coming back, and when we come out into the airport, a week later, we know where our car is. We do it when we go to the store, we make a list in our mind, and sometimes we feel like we forgot something, and when we're driving away, we realized we didn't buy something on the list. Or when you go buy it in the store, it just pops up and you know to buy it. See, we can either make mistakes and we can keep repeating mistakes, or we can engage in new processes, allow us to think more clearly. Now, your ability to sit back and to relax. Unfortunately, my clock has stopped, so I'm not sure how much time I have, so I'm going to just wing it here and ask you to consider the following. If it's safe, if you're driving a car, don't do this. If you're operating heavy machinery, don't do this. But if you can close your eyes for a minute, I want you to just think for a second that how important you are. And I want you to do it in the following way. 13 billion years ago, there was a big bang that exploded across the universe. It built galaxies and nebulas and all kinds of things, and has evolved over time to the point where we ended up in a galaxy on the edge of the universe, spinning at 177,000 miles an hour. We're on a planet in a solar system turning at a certain rate, on a planet spinning at 25,000 miles an hour. That's a perfect blue ball. And on that ball, evolution is brought up through the years so that you could be here and have the consciousness to look up at the stars at night, to understand that you're not in the universe, you're actually universing. You're a part of it. You're made of all the same things. You came from that big bang. So something must be really important about you. And if you understand that just for a moment, then you have to understand that the life that you leave is yours. Now, the magical thing about it is that you have free will. It just doesn't seem like it all the time. But it doesn't mean that you can't change and feel better. So if you take just for a moment, think of one time where you don't feel better. One thing you repeatedly get into where you have anxiety or where you feel stressed or wherever it is where you have trouble relaxing. And as you think about it, see what you saw when you were there, hear what you heard, and notice whether your feelings tumble forward, rotate back, go clockwise or counterclockwise. And just for a moment, speed them up and see if you can feel more stress. If they move faster through your body, you will. Sometimes it helps to put your finger in front of you and tumble it forward or rotate it back or clockwise or counterclockwise. And when you do, what you'll notice is when it goes faster, you feel more anxiety. Now, when you slow it down, really slow it down, your feelings slow down to the point where they stop, you can actually spin it in the opposite direction and begin to feel more relaxed. And the more relaxed you feel, this is the time to take a deep breath and smile for absolutely no reason. A big smile, the kind where you show teeth. Because if you wiggle your toes and let the smile start at your feet and come all the way up to your mouth, you can get a whole body sensation. And if you spin that in your body, you're going to feel better. Now, if you go back and look at the same picture while you're smiling and while you're spinning this new feeling, you'll realize that the trick here is to trade feelings. If you feel happier and feel more relaxed, you're going to make better decisions about what to do. You'll literally be capable of doing things that you couldn't. I've taken people with absolute overwhelming public speaking phobias, and the next day they were talking to Congress in the United States. I had one that was talking to Parliament. He was terrified and called me on the phone the night before. I took him through roughly the same exercise, and suddenly his anxiety disappeared. Instead of thinking it was going to be more stressful because these are members of Parliament, he started thinking that all he had to do was be more of himself, and he would do very well, and did. You can do well yourself. All you have to do is take this good feeling and imagine where you want to use it. Look into the future. Look way into the future. And look 2 days into the future, a week into the future, a month into the future, and start deciding where you're going to feel this good. You want it to spread through your life and through your neurology so that your unconscious begins to work for you rather than just do the same old thing. Einstein said repeating the same thing and expecting a different result is insanity. Okay, I agree with him, but it's also a habit. The brain is designed to make things familiar. That's what it's supposed to do, so that when you learn to open one door, you can open lots of doors. You learn to sit in one chair, you know what chairs are for. That, you learn to use a fork, you don't have to relearn it every time you eat dinner. That even chopsticks, you have to learn to use chopsticks, and once you learn them, you should know how. Even if you haven't done it for a year, you can still ride a bicycle. All of these things are because our neurology is designed to make something familiar, master it, and move on. Well, sometimes we master things that are not useful, in which case we need to shrink them down, move them far away, and replace them with better ideas. The idea of being more happy more of the day. Because if your day, you feel more of your day unpleasant or more of your day stressed out, more of your day less productive. I wrote a book about the secrets of being happy years ago. I've written a lot of books. That one was the most enlightening to me because when I took the happiest people I could find, even people who had been in the most tragic of situations, concentration camps, but yet they ended up happy later on, it turned out they all had a plan. That even in the worst of situations, they planned what they would be doing when they were happy, so they would see themselves in the future, leaving a concentration camp or a prison and going back to their farm and planting crops or One guy became a tailor in New York, and he had designed the store and every suit in it and everything for years before he was released. And then he went to New York and carried out his plan and was happy every day. If you don't plan to be happy, if you don't plan to be successful, if you don't plan all these things, they will never happen. So there's no time to start planning other than now. Because if you think about what's wrong, then you get good at it. If you think about what would be wonderful, you get good about it. Tonight, when you sleep and when you dream, I want your unconscious to run some scenarios. You can sleep peacefully, and while you're sleeping peacefully, that period where you build dreams, you can begin to dream bigger and brighter and also more wonderful, so that you begin to think, how can I make my life better? What can I learn? And see yourself doing new things and relaxing more of the time, and smiling more of the time. So I tell you what, take a deep breath, wiggle your toes, and smile from your feet all the way up your legs until you show some teeth. Open your eyes and come back, because Paul and I are going to answer some questions.
My goodness, I'm obviously sitting here ready with excited to answer questions, but I was just completely mesmerized. And also the camera came back on as I was fully showing my teeth with my smile that came right from my toes. So
you have a beautiful smile, by the way.
Thank you, Richard. That's very kind to say. The spinning thoughts, that was truly fascinating, because I physically, and I'm sure so many people in the room physically felt that shift. I thought of something that was desperately anxiety inducing for me, and I went through the process with you, and I felt the shift. It was, and I'm sure there are people in the room. I'll ask the people out there if they have any questions, and we will absolutely go to your questions. And whilst you are writing your questions and thinking of them, I mean, I've got loads. I could ask them until midnight, but I think we'd all be looking to go to our beds. What do we mean by our unconscious mind? A few people have been talking about the unconscious mind in the chat, and I'd love to know kind of what we mean by that.
Well, it's not Freud's unconscious. It's the sum total of all the neurosynapses that you've grown your entire life. Some of it is hardware, some of it is software. And we build up a conglomeration. It's not like a person. Freud thought your unconscious was some evil sexual pervert.
Right.
And I'm afraid I disagree with that entirely. I think that the unconscious process it processes information. It keeps your heart beating, keeps you breathing, keeps your blood pressure up on one level, completely autonomic things. And on another level, it's the sum total of all the learnings of your entire life every day. And this means there are some things you can do and some things you haven't considered doing. I always go, there are things in your life that you want and you don't have. There are things in your life that you have that you don't want, especially thoughts. But there are also the things you've never thought of and you've never wanted. And that's where the big area is. That's how you replace old learnings with new learnings. That this nonsense that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I had a 14-year-old German Shepherd, and I taught him new tricks all the time because I didn't have a belief that got in my way. And when you have beliefs that say that you can't get better or things are going to be too hard, you don't try. When you start believing that everything is possible, it turns out. In my career, almost everything I've done, I was told by people couldn't be done. That all the clients I worked with that were supposed to be impossible, all the things that I did, they said, psychotherapy, is too complicated to be able to model mathematically and write algorithms. But yet I've got 35 books full of them, and people have been learning and using them all over the planet. NLP has become something that's on every continent, And I thought it was except Antarctica, but when I said that on a webinar once, I got a letter from somebody who was on Antarctica that says I use it every day.
Brilliant. You mentioned the old dog new tricks. That was actually going to be one of my questions, because we hear so much, and again, and as I'm about to ask this question, I'm also questioning myself that this is just a belief that I now have stored in my mind. But people say, oh, when you're a child, you're a sponge, and then when you get to, after university, the brain starts to kind of do its thing, and we start to get set in our ways, and our neural pathways form these really like deep crevices of this kind of life that we live. And actually, here we are at a certain age, but actually you're saying that we can start to shift that, right?
Well, remember the brain never stops growing cortical pathways.
Right.
And the fact is these cortical pathways go, and sometimes they loop. And they loop until they habituate. So, you'll think of something, you'll get stressed out about it. And then after a while, you just stop and it disappears. And then you start thinking about it and it does the same thing. But if you take that neural pathway and either put something over the top of it, or you make it go on to somewhere else, it stops affecting you the same way. But if you believe, you don't try. If you believe, you try with every fiber of your soul, and you end up surprising yourself delightfully all the time.
I'd add that people say to me things like, it takes 21 days to get a new habit. And I just go, it's nonsense. Like Richard and I have been working together for 32 years, and I've seen people change in 21 seconds. We've all had the experience of going, you know what? I'm never doing that again, right? And in that moment you change, or you have an idea for something and you suddenly see what's possible. Or you meet somebody, and in that moment, your life changes. So life change, powerful life change is possible. And one of the reasons we use hypnosis and, the modern psychological techniques like NLP is because it happens fast and it's painless. Unlike therapy, where you have to sit there, and old-fashioned therapy this is, and talk about all your problems and go over them again. We pride ourselves in being able to make fast, dynamic, and really enjoyable changes.
Honestly, it's making me think about this kind of, you're talking about the quickness of it, and it's making me think of this kind of the 2 days that we're going to be talking about in a second, the kind of unlocking your true potential in 2 days. And I think that I think you're describing that we can actually in 2 days just make a decision.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you for a minute. Just say this: I'm going to unlock my potential over 30 years. It just sounds nonsensical. You're going to unlock your potential. You need to do it quickly. 20 years from now, I'm going to unlock my potential. It just sounds stupid. When I started out, psychiatrists told me that it took 5 years to make a significant change in any behavior. And I said, so when exactly do they start making it? At the end of the 5 years, in the middle, a month before? Because it just doesn't make sense. It might sound logical if you're used to hearing it. And I think they were all just used to hearing it. They believed change was slow and had to be painful, and that, you had to pull away layers of stuff and find the root cause. That all of that stuff is nonsense. Right. People need to make a good plan and change the way they feel so they can carry it out. If you don't know how to change feelings, and nothing will change feelings faster than hypnosis. It's a funny thing. I had somebody who played piano, and they were very envious of somebody with perfect pitch. So I hypnotized them, put them in a trance, and told them when they woke up, they would have perfect pitch. I literally did very little more than that. And then started hitting keys on the piano, and she would tell me the name, right? And I took her out of trance, and she couldn't do it. Part of the reason I developed NLP is to answer the question, how is it possible that people can do things in trance and can't do them out of trance? And it has to do with the state of consciousness. It also has to do with the mental strategy. When I put her in a trance and asked her how she was doing it, she said she visualized a piano keyboard, and when she heard a note, she saw the key went down. And she named it, right? And eventually she was able to do it consciously, but she had to change the state, because when she was trying to do it, the word trying even implies you're not going to, I tried to open the door. That when you're trying, it's the wrong state. You know, you have to relax and go into just the right state with the right mental equipment to carry out any task. It's what makes great musicians, great artists, great athletes, great decision makers. And it's what will make your life great as well. And this can't happen slowly. You need to get the information quickly. If this was a 30-year class, you would die of boredom. It would be more like elementary school and college was for me.
Yeah,
Donna,
we're all much too impatient for that.
Donna,
I'm going to go
question.
Go on, Paul, go ahead.
No, we're getting one question that's asked a lot. That's what I'm always intrigued by, because even though you might have 100 questions there, there's usually one question or two that are, you know, ones that everybody wants answered.
Yeah, I've got some here. So there are. Let's have a look. So, if you want to work on if you want to work on a number of things, should you only work on one area at a time?
No.
Do you know, I would add also, when you change, because a human being is an interdependent system. So when you change one thing, suddenly a whole load of other things, for the better this is, often change. That's a very, very common thing. You know, I mean, one of the things that people find when they do this hypnosis weekend with us is because they're going into trance and out of trance and into trance and out of trance, what happens is their stress levels go way down. They look younger, you know, like they've been on vacation for a couple of weeks. All the stress in their face is gone. And as a result, they make better decisions. Because they make better decisions and their general manner and their approach to life is coming from a more resourceful place. Everything gets better. So in a sense, you could work on one thing, but why would you when you can change a whole load of areas of your life?
Right. And that leads us really nicely onto another. There's a few questions here about sticking to it, I think. How do you make hypnosis stick? Someone's also saying, is it easy to fall back into the status quo? How do we enable our energy in daily life? So there's a lot of questions here about how do we sustain it, I think, is probably the question.
Well, okay, I've got a quick answer for that, which is we work on the premise of, you know, if you give someone a fish, they eat for a day. Teach someone to fish, they eat for life. So we're giving people these amazing skills and you're practicing them over and over again. How to change your state, how to get motivated, how to get calm, how to take a problem and get creative about solving it. And once you've practiced that over and over again for 2 days, you're good at it, right? So it's second nature to you. So sometimes people, you know, they do a particular process and bam, that's it. They're different. Other times, you know, people change, but then life happens and maybe there's a challenge or a crisis. But because you've learned these techniques, which make you more resilient, more powerful, you're just going to handle it differently. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Richard?
Well, I think when you say, is it easy to fall back? Well, the answer is no, because you have to go through the same shit over again. Do people do it? Yes. Stupidity is rampant and alive on planet Earth. Is it smart? No. And the thing is if I take somebody through something that gets them over a phobia, and I do that all the time, and I do it very quickly, you know, could they go back and be terrified again? Yes, but they're going to have to relearn it. And the truth is, when people have two choices, typically they make the best one. And if the one is very unpleasant, they'll avoid it. This is, you know, the thing is if the rewarding state is easier to get to than the unpleasant state, then people will continue it. And that's what I strive in my work, to get people to make it easier to go into the future and harder to go in the past. I can't tell you how many times I've asked people what they were doing, and when they explained it to me, I would just look over at them and go, does that sound smart? So far, I haven't had anybody say yes. You know, reliving bad memories, you know, being terrified of stupid things like escalators. I had a world-class race car driver Now, I want you to think about what these guys do. NASCAR is coming up. These guys drive at the maximum speed in little packs right next to each other on a track that doesn't even have lanes. I mean, it's incredibly dangerous, and the level of adrenaline has to be really high. This guy was terrified. I mean, absolutely terrified to go up an escalator. His legs would give out. He would fall on the floor before he got near one. Now, does that make sense? No. And, when I asked him what he thought about, and he said, look, I get near the elevator, I start thinking about those teeth chewing up my legs. And I said, does that sound smart to you? And he went, well, no, but I can't stop it. Well, the truth is he didn't know how to stop it. I do. And then since I teach him to do it, even if it were to come back once, he knew what to do because he did it himself. It wasn't done to him. I give people instructions. Everything we do is educational, not therapeutic. It doesn't work because you don't know what happened. It works because you know how to do it yourself. If you know how to get rid of one phobia, you can get rid of the rest. It's not different. If you know how to get rid of one bad memory, you can get rid of the rest. If you know how to motivate yourself, you can motivate yourself to do anything. And these are the tools that we offer people. This is what makes NLP and hypnosis such a great combination. One is a set of instructions about how to accomplish something. The other is a set of tools to get you into just the right state so that it will stay with you for the rest of your life.
So, Donna, I think we've got time for one more question. Is there one again that's quite popular there?
Yeah, absolutely. People are talking about how quickly can hypnosis create real change? We've spoken about the time, I think, actually. So there's a few talking about time here. Biggest misconception, but also the couple of questions here about hypnotizing others and hypnotizing self. Now, I know that's something you're going to be covering in the 2-day event. Is how to hypnotize other people and oneself. We'd like to hear how that would work.
I'm sorry, I don't know which question you asked.
Well, I think it relates to hypnotizing yourself. See, I would say just quickly on this. In a sense, we're all hypnotizing ourselves all day long by the pictures we make inside our mind and what we tell ourselves. If we tell ourselves this is going to be bad, we generate feelings of anxiety. Or if we tell ourselves and we picture things going well, we generate confidence. But the actual process of self-hypnosis often involves relaxation, visualization, these sorts of things. But it's all, which is all very well when you've got time to relax. What we'll be training you to do is to be able to use it in your everyday life. So no matter what you do, and by the way, also, we'll be teaching you the secret language of hypnosis. Hypnotists use a particular kind of language, which is very persuasive. And somebody was on a course a couple of years ago, went and negotiated a pay rise for herself and all her other colleagues after the course because she'd become so much more persuasive in hypnotic language. Mm-hmm. So yes, you'll be learning to hypnotize yourself to go into profoundly resourceful states of mind and body, like relaxation or confidence or motivation, whatever. But also, as well as that,
like any skill that you learn, you get good at. If you spend 2 days going in and out of trance, it's going to be easier to go in and out by yourself. It's a learned skill like any other skill. And, riding a bicycle is tough at first, but when you get good at it, it becomes second nature. And I have a feeling in this course, you're going to spend a lot of time going in and out of trance. And your ability to go into trance also affects your ability to hypnotize other people. Because if you can't relax, it's going to be very hard to get other people to.
And how much time will people expect to have with the two of you at this 2-day event?
Well, we're basically all the time. So
wow.
I do, it's 4 90-minute slots. I'll do the first one, Richard does the middle 2, and I do the last one. And then on the second day, I do the first half of the day, Richard does the second half of the day. And we're there as well, so you get to meet us and hang out with us. I should also add, because some people want to be there in the room, right? Other people want to do this online now. It's become much, very much a popular thing. And when you do it online, we have a team of assistants. So when you want to practice the techniques, they're there to supervise you online in groups so that you can get the full benefit. It's not like you're just watching a video. You're in an immersive experience.
So I'd still know. So I still get feedback as to whether I was doing it right or not. I'd still.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. I think we've got time for one more.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the sort of unlocking your true potential. That's the title of the 2 days that we're going to speak about in a sec. Do people get surprised as to what their true potential is? Do people come in thinking they know what their true potential is, and they come out with a kind of with a bunch of surprises?
Yes.
Not only do they get surprised, but their friends and family, they'll go like, "You're different," or we'll meet somebody like 6 months later. I remember meeting this lady who came on the stage and we did a demonstration. She was dressed real scruffy, and she was talking about she had lots of ideas for business, and there was no focus, and she wasn't in a relationship. And I saw her about 6 months later. She was in a smart suit. She started a business. It was going great. She was in a great relationship. And she said, I just wonder, could it possibly have anything to do with that weekend, that I did with you and Richard Bandler? And I said, well, it could well do. I'm all for coincidences, but at the same time, it just seems very unlikely that it's just a coincidence,
So it's kind of that. Yeah, I think that leads on to the last thing, which is that kind of about how we don't. It's not always conscious how much we've shifted, right? But I love the idea that friends and family might kind of start to look at you a little bit differently. Yeah. There's been some kind of some questions about the event itself. Lots of questions about the event itself. So I'd love to take us on to Josh, if you're there with the slides, so we can talk a little bit more about the event. So here it is, the 31st of May to the 1st of June. So we are launching this evening, and anyone that has joined us this evening will be able to benefit from a reduced offer. So there's an online offer. So if we take us through it, let's take you through first of all. We've got the 2 days to unlock your true potential forever, as you heard Paul and Richard talk about so beautifully, accessing a highly creative altered state, diving into the latest hypnotic technology, learn to hypnotize yourself and others. We've chatted about that, mastering the secret language of influence. As we say, it's more than an event. It's an investment in yourself. We're looking at go back, Josh. The other, sorry. Thank you. Attaining total concentration and focus, harnessing the power of your unconscious mind, breaking free from lifelong habits, and then polishing your advanced communication skills. I mean, they're the headlines, but as you hear from Richard and Paul, this is you going in and out of trance for 2 days, learning all of these incredible, amazing tools. And actually, it's unlocking a part of you that that will change your potential forever. So sorry, Josh, now we can go along to the end so we can see the special offer that we have. So your options are, as Paul said, you can come along in person, but we do have an online option as well. There's the QR code there if you wanted to scan in. If anyone has any specific questions about the event itself, then please do pop those into the comments. The special offer here, so the online, it's normally $597, but it's $357 if you were to book that today. That's for the first 100 tickets only for the online, and all of these have very limited seats. There's in person, which is live in the room. That is a special offer of $499. Normally you would pay $697. Again, there's only for the first 100 tickets. And I just so you're kind of aware of the kind of numbers, we've had 6,000 people register for this session online this evening. So it's just the first 100 tickets that will benefit from this. And then we have the VIP Ultimate Experience, where that will normally be $897, but the special offer here is $597, and that's for the first 10 tickets only. So So yes, that's it. If anyone has any questions, then do kindly let us know. But so yes, that really is us. So I would like to thank from Mind, Body, Spirit, myself, and all of us, thank you so much for coming. Josh, I just want to check, are there any more questions coming in about the actual event itself? No, I don't think so. Amazing. So that just leaves me to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for the time this evening that you've spent, and your love that's been here with us. And also thank you to Richard and Paul for their incredible words. I promise I could have listened to those guys all evening. So thank you so much for coming. And just if you scan the QR code, and you'll get details sent to your inbox if you registered for the online event as well.